Hey guys, AuspiciousAussie here, and welcome to episode 78 of the San Marino Challenge. Now, today's episode is going to be an international doubleheader in the UEFA Nations League. Basically, we're up to the last two games of the Nations League, and while I don't really respect the competition too much, it's more or less glorified friendly games. Our group is pretty interesting. I'll show you this first of all. As you can tell by the title, we do have some bad news in terms of the national team as well. But yeah, we currently sit in third place. However, Armenia and Montenegro are both tied on first with 8 points each. And of course, in the first game of the doubleheader, we are versing Armenia. So if we manage to beat them, Armenia managed to beat Montenegro in their next game, and of course, we beat Andorra. Theoretically, all three teams could be on 11 points. Thus it would come down... I think it comes down to goal difference. I'm not 100% sure. No, it's results between teams. Well, that kind of screws up everything that I was thinking, but it would be a weird one because we have to, of course, beat Armenia, so therefore we would have better results against Armenia. However, Montenegro would have better results against us. Yeah, it's confusing. Very confusing. And I guess, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting episode nonetheless. Haven't really done we've done one doubleheader in the series so far, and that was the Champions League semi-final, where we did both legs of that. And this is going to be our second one. I was going to do the Basel game, and then I was actually going to do the Lazio game purely for the fact that the stadium expansion has been completed. If I go into club here and we go into facilities, as you can see, San Marino Calcio Stadium is now a 34,402 all-seater stadium. It is the max capacity that we can actually get, and of course there is a built-in rule about stadiums in Football Manager, so we can't actually go for a new stadium until 2047, I guess, would be 20 years. So essentially we've still got another 17 years until we can get a new stadium, which will be a bigger capacity. Anyways, let's get through a few things first of all. Now, the first thing is the bad news for the national team. And that comes with caps for our dual nationality players. Now, it's worth noting that these caps are only in a friendly game. So essentially, we can still cap these dual nationality players if they don't play a competitive game for the Italian national team. But yeah, the first of which was Michelotti. They both actually played in the same game, which is interesting. It was a friendly game against the USA. Really, I don't know, it seems almost suspicious that they did it, almost like they were trying to solidify these players for the Italian national team. And of course, as you would expect, the other player was Albani as well. And they both have the one cap. But as you can see, I can still call both of them up, so I can try and call them up, we'll say that. But overall, it's pretty disappointing, and I would think that it's only a matter of time before they actually get a proper competitive cap, therefore locking them to the Italian national team, and essentially screwing us out of two wonder kid players that could have played for San Marino. And I mean, honestly, those two players probably could have lifted our national team, in terms of the quality. Obviously they would have, but yeah, it would have been really beneficial and definitely would have strengthened in more ways than one. It's also worth noting that Cervellini's actually got 5 caps for the under-21s as well. He's looking pretty good at the moment. He's improving quite well also. And I'm guessing they're going to probably try and cap him soon as well. Which is fine because we have, pretty decent stocks at centre-back for the national team. But anyway, we've got a few things to go over with the club team. First of all, as you can see the league table, we're currently in first, as you would expect. 31 points, 10 wins, only the one draw, no losses. But if you look at second place, Inter are having a really good season as well. They are currently 5 points behind, although we can advance that to 8 points if we win our game in hand. But they're unbeaten as well. 7 wins and 5 draws for Inter. And then for some reason, Bologna are just having a really good season. Anyways, let's go over the fixtures for the club team. Here we go. Of course, the first episode, the previous episode, was the UEFA Super Cup. We followed it up with a 3-1 victory over Atalanta. Viviani, Ivan, and Schmidt on the score sheet there. We then managed to beat newly promoted Catanzaro, Formato, and Champlat on the score sheet there. We then disappointingly could only manage a 2-2 away draw against AC Milan. As you can see, Champlat opened the scoring. Kalu, the right winger, got one back for Milan. We then went 2-1 up, and I was like, yes, well, we've managed to sneak a nice little late victory. Formato in the 86th minute. And then they got the equaliser in the 92nd, the second minute of stoppage time. Break my heart. But to be fair, I mean, it was a pretty even game, although we probably deserved it a little bit more than they did. The next game was a 3-1 victory at home against Salernitana. Champlat, Yusufi, and Mazzari, of course, the 19-year-old Italian midfielder, is playing really well. He's playing really well, and I'm happy that I didn't loan him out this season. And of course, he's gaining a bit more interest in loan signings, going into January. We then managed to beat Celtic. Our Champions League group is Celtic once again, Benfica, and then FC Basel. But yeah, Schmidt and Sabir on the score sheet there. We then followed it with another 2-0 victory over Roma. Novi and Sabir once again on the score sheet. The next game was a really weird one. Pescara were coming last, and we managed to beat them 6-2. Just a lot of goals. Honestly, we didn't really defend well, but obviously our attackers managed to find the back of the net. Vitek, Britos with a brace, Sokolic, the 17-year-old centre midfielder, with a brace as well, and then Malin, the left back on loan from Man City. We then smashed Benfica away from home as well, which is interesting because Benfica, they're a pretty good team. Ivan, Champlat, an own goal from Garcia, and Sabir on the score sheet once again. We then managed to get a pretty close victory, 2-1 over Napoli. Viviani and Schmidt on the score sheet. They did open the scoring, but then they also had a player sent off in the 42nd minute. And yeah, Viviani scored his goal in the 43rd. We then beat Bologna, who were I think they were in second place at this stage. We beat them 2-0. As you can see, they had a player sent off. Novi then got sent off with a straight red card 5 minutes later. And then Cordon and Champlat managed to get the 2 goals for us. We then managed to beat FC Basel in a pretty close game. As you can see, all the goals came late. A 2-1 victory. Michelotti opened the scoring in the 83rd minute. They got one back in the 87th minute. And then in the 90th minute, Britos did score a penalty, giving us the victory there. We then went back to Serie A action and absolutely smashed Udinese, a 5-0 victory. Champlat with a hat-trick, Viviani and Cordon on the score sheet there. Managed a 2-0 victory over Sassuolo, Champlat and Ivan getting the goals. We then smashed FC Basel 4-0. Malin, Albani, Britos and Cordon getting the goals. And the final game just played in our newly renovated stadium, max capacity, and it was a sellout as well. As you can see over here, the attendance 34,402. Formato with a brace, one of which was a penalty. And then we have Britos and Yusufi also on the score sheet. So basically, that's pretty much everything. There's actually one more thing to go over. And it is quite possibly one of the funniest things that has happened on the series so far. And I'm already laughing because we got a new affiliate team, and you can probably guess you might be able to guess. It's not really a very far-fetched thing. Well, it's kind of the opposite to how things start on the game. Our new affiliate club is Cesena. They were once our parent club when we were in Serie D, and now the tables have turned and we're the parent club. We're going to be paying them £95,646 annually. But yeah, really looking forward to them. They are in Lega Pro currently. I think they just got relegated last season from Serie B. But yeah, they got good training facilities. Obviously, they got a good stadium. They're pretty close by in terms of where San Marino is located. And yeah, it's just a bit of a no-brainer. You know, they looked after us quite a bit when we were down in the lower league. And now we're going to try and look after them. Send them, hopefully a few San Marinese players. And yeah, hopefully they'll get back into Serie B. And hopefully our players will develop and have some good loan moves to Cesena. Anyways, let's go back into the national team side of things. And we'll get into today's lineup. We won't go over the bench. We'll just go over the starting lineup here today. As you can see, most of the starting lineup is from the club team. Basically, I would say half of the squad is from our club. Anyways, in goals, unfortunately, normal goalkeeper Bernardi picked up an injury towards towards this game. So he's going to miss today's game. We're going to go with Muricini, who is looking pretty good actually. He's only 18, good reflexes, good kicking, and good handling there as well. So yeah, he was actually going to get his first cap here today. He's got 0 caps for the senior team. And then, yeah, at right back, we're going to go with Celli, who is not one of our players. He does play for Juvenes Dogana in the San Marinese league. But he's featured quite prominently in the national team. Only 21 years old, 29 caps for 3 goals. Pretty good pace on him, which is the reason why he continues to find himself in the team. Of course, we've just recently got a dual nationality right back last season with the youth intake. But, as you'd expect, he is choosing Italy over San Marino. We then have our 2 centre-backs. Of course, Vicini, who is... I didn't actually get to go over this, but we sold Vicini, who... he's really good, but he just wasn't prominent for the club team. And as you can see, Atalanta came in, £8 million offer. I think it was a 20% of profit of next sale as well. But I feel like £8 million for him is a decent price. And I mean, he's playing for Atalanta as well. As you can see, played quite a few times in Serie A. Average rating's not too bad. And he's only 22 years old. So I expect him to have a pretty good career wherever he goes. I just felt like it was time to move him on. He really wasn't going to develop any more than he is currently. And I feel like he is good enough to play in a top division in Europe. So yeah, we sold him. It was actually on deadline day, so that's essentially the reason why I wasn't able to go over that in the previous episode, because I think there was 2 more days of the transfer window from the last episode. But yeah, he will be partnered today by Ugolini, who is of course on loan at Salernitana. So he'll start in the centre of defence. Then in the left back position, we're going to go with another one of our players, Cervellini. Can play centre back, but have actually retrained him as a left back, as an inverted wing back, which makes sense. Somewhat decent defensive stats, really good pace, good strength, and good positioning. He's got 20 caps for 3 goals, and he looks pretty good, pretty solid. Then in defensive midfield, we're going to go with Biordi, who is essentially a centre-back, but I think he's by far the best option that we have as a defensive midfielder. Of course, we're not going to play 3 centre-backs because it's not really the I like to stick with the tactic that I've got. Obviously, it's done us quite, it's done quite well, winning the Champions League. What was it, 4 or 3 consecutive Serie A titles as well, numerous cups and whatnot. But yeah, I think he's the best option, and it just makes us a little bit more solid defensively, because usually I'd play Micheloni in that position. He's probably a little bit better as a deep line playmaker, but I feel like he lacks the defensive capabilities. So yeah, Micheloni will start alongside Terenzi in the centre of midfield. Now he's doing okay. He's developing still on loan at Pisa in Serie B. So I'm happy with that. On the right wing, we're going with this guy, Mayani. Just basically, I try and go for pace on the wings, because yeah, the quality that we have at the moment is it's not good. It's really not good at all. So yeah, he'll be partnered by Siachi on the other wing. And then up front, we're going to go with De Angelis, of course, the new youth or single nationality youth player from last season's intake. And as you can see, he's developing really well. And he's got 6 caps and 1 goal to his name currently. So yeah, basically, if we want to even have a chance, I mean, I don't know how things are going to fall, but to even have a chance, we need to beat Armenia here. So, it's greatly stacked against us. We are the away team as well. So it's going to be a pretty interesting, 2 games in terms of the national team. And of course, the bad news coming in about the the Italy caps for Micheloni and Albani is it's pretty sad. Anyway, Micheloni, that's why I put him in the team. He's got 15 free kick taking, and he likes to score from the free kicks. He really does. I think he might even be like the leading goal scorer. I'm pretty sure he is the leading goal scorer for the national team currently, which is awesome. He's developed pretty well, actually, for being in the San Marinese league. As you'd expect, Montenegro have just taken the lead against Andorra, as Vicini picks up a yellow card on halftime. I'm pretty happy with how things are going, though. But I definitely have to tell these players to ease off. A lot of them just seem to pick up yellow cards very easily. I don't really know why, but I guess it might have to do with their aggression or their concentration and stuff like that. Because it seems to happen a lot, I've noticed. Micheloni with another free kick, just goes over the bar this time. Not too bad. We might actually make a sub here. We'll bring on a new left winger. We do have Muricini, another one of our players, on the bench there. So we'll bring him on, replace Siachi. Not playing too well. He was on a 6.3. But we're looking like we're going to win this game. I might have spoken too soon, but we do have the ball here. Micheloni out wide to Biordi. Sometimes their passing can go astray, but they're looking pretty good today. Pinpoint passes. Selly, Mayani. Oh, that was a good chance. Muricini could have put the ball in the back of the net there. Their player did pretty well to block it. Terenzi gets tackled. It's worth noting that Armenia do have a couple of decent players. One of their right wingers he plays for Frankfurt, and I was actually looking at signing him for the club team. That's how good he is. Anyway, we're stealing the ball away. There's 3 minutes of normal time left. Muricini's bringing the ball forward. Can play it inside. Selly, 2-0. Gets in there, boys. We've beaten Armenia, which is important. And if we'd only beaten them in the last game, which was a draw, it could have essentially won us the group, which would have been nice. It would have been nice to see, but anyway, Montenegro are 4-0 up currently against Andorra. Andorra, obviously, by far the weakest team. I think they might be the weakest team in Europe. Obviously, that's no longer San Marino. But yeah, there we go, guys. Nice little 2-0 victory. Pretty happy with that, to be honest, over Armenia. Like I said, they have a few decent players. But they also have some trash players as well. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. Anyways, I'm going to quickly advance the 3 days, and I'll join you back with the lineup for the Andorra game. Alrighty, so let's get into the lineup for the Andorra game. I've made a few changes off camera, and a couple have been due to suspension, and De Angelis and Vicini both suspended for this game. And due to that, we're going to go with I had to rotate a few players as well because of match fitness. Well, not match fitness, but match condition. So up front, we're going to go with Colonna, who has scored a couple of goals. No, he hasn't. I thought he might have scored a couple, but he's got good finishing and pretty good composure and off the ball. So we're going to go with him today. We don't really have many other options in terms of strikers. It's been pretty poor in terms of strikers before De Angelis came to us at the end of last season. In defence, of course, Vicini is going to miss out, so therefore Biordi will move back into the centre of defence, and then Micheloni will drop down into the defensive midfielder position, and then Nicola Ugolini, another one of our centre mids, is going to come into the starting lineup. On the right wing, we go with Gasparoni to replace Maiani. I think I want to change Cervellini for Zonzini, who is a left back from our club as well. And apart from that, I think everything looks pretty good. Basically, it's the same starting lineup except for those players that have been changed that I just mentioned. But yeah, looking for a pretty good performance. I think we won the last time like 4 or 5-0 away in Andorra. So hopefully at least like a 2 or 3-0 victory minimum would be a pretty good performance in my eyes. Anyway, we do have the ball. Terenzi gets tackled. He likes to get tackled like that, running with the ball. Ball's cleared away. Ugolini takes a shot, and it is blocked, unfortunately. We do have a lot of players. Micheloni gets tackled, and it's a penalty. That looked like a pretty soft penalty, to be honest. Who's going to take it? Terenzi. I mean, to be fair, I don't think any of the players in the national team can take a penalty to save their lives. So I'm kind of, I kind of expected Terenzi to miss there. But it's pretty embarrassing, the fact that it happened on camera. I mean, that was a pretty good tackle there, to be fair. Mulleroni, Gasparoni, Mulleroni again. Colonna with a pretty good chance, to be honest. A nice little header, and he's headed it over the bar. I mean, while we're looking good, we haven't looked really that dangerous. As I say that, we score our first goal. Biordi from the free kick, from Gasparoni's free kick. And we're 1-0 up, finally. It only took us, 20 minutes? I was kind of expecting a goal before then, to be honest. Oh, Mulleroni. That was a decent shot. That was a decent shot from outside the box. And there we go. 2 goals within about 5 or so minutes. Exactly what I wanted. I wanted to at least get a nice little cushion. Gasparoni with another free kick. And Michel Ugolini, puts it in the back of the net. Missed his first shot, or he missed his header. Was it a header or a shot? I can't remember. But yeah, managed to get his own rebound and put it in the back of the net. And now we're 3-0 up. Gasparoni with 2 assists from both from free kicks. Pretty impressive stuff. Of course, he did sit out last game. He wasn't really... Well, he didn't really have the match condition. That's a pretty good save there by their goalkeeper. It was a nice little curling effort. as we go into half-time. Yeah, happy stuff so far. We're absolutely dominating. 3-0 up is exactly what I wanted. I mean, I'd be happy if the game finished 3-0. But yeah, we managed to score 3 goals in the first half, which I'm a little... I would say I'm surprised, but it is Andorra. They're essentially the San Marino equivalent, except for the fact that obviously San Marino has been improved as Micheloni gets another goal and another assist off the free kick to Gasparoni. Interesting. And we're 4-0 up. Micheloni with another free kick. Deflected, Ugolini can't put it in the back of the net. And I think that was Michel Ugolini. Actually, I'm not 100% sure. It's pretty odd having 2 of them in the same team. 2 players with the same name. We might look to make a couple of... I don't know what that was, but we'll look to make a couple of subs here now. Micheloni's played well. We can take him off. We'll bring this guy on. I don't think he's had a cap before. Pelliccioni. Who else should we bring on? Let's bring Valley on. It's interesting that 2 of my normal these 2 strikers, Valley and Colonna, aren't actually my normal backup strikers. They both actually picked up 4-week injuries before this roster selection. Hence why these 2 new guys are in. Siaki makes it 5. Still about 10 minutes left to play. And we're 5-0 up, which is... I expected a good performance like this, but to win 5-0 definitely makes me happy. And they only had the 1 shot on target, which I'm, very pleased with. Kind of a nice way to finish the Nations League. And there you go, Siachi, man of the match. Although, to be fair, it probably could have gone to about 8 or so players. Let's have a look at the group. We'll have a quick look at the national team group. The Nations League. Oh, there we go. I guess my calculations were wrong. Well, I guess Armenia just did not beat Montenegro. I'm guessing that they drew with them on that final day to give them... Yeah, they did. To give them the extra point that was needed. But fair play to Montenegro. They actually finished the group unbeaten, so they deserve it. They go into the playoff, which I would have liked to have been in. Actually, it's promotion. I thought it was a playoff. I thought they versed the last place team in a one-off game. Anyway, they just gained straight promotion to the higher league. Anyways, guys, that's going to wrap this episode up. Hope you enjoyed the double header. Something a bit different. Usually I bring you a Champions League game, but I thought that the national team deserves a bit more spotlight, especially with the bad news about the dual nationality players being capped in a friendly game, and then, of course, being included in the Italy squad. It's kind of soul-crushing, but then again, it was also kind of expected. And I mean, there was a point in time where I was considering not playing either of the players and, stalling their progress. But honestly, I think that would have been a detriment to the club team. We've won the Champions League, consecutive or back-to-back Serie A's. And obviously those players both play a pretty integral role in the first team these days. Both of them are also worth, a lot of money now as well. I think Albani's worth about £50 million currently, and Michelotti's at about 22. And if I halted their progress, they would not be worth anywhere near that type of money. I don't know. It's a hard one to really think about, but I think I did make the right decision, even if they do get the competitive caps for Italy. Anyways, guys, thank you very much for watching. Drop a like on the video, that'd be much appreciated. Subscribe as well if you haven't, and hit the notification bell. That should keep you up to date with these episodes coming out in the future. Apart from that, guys, take it easy and goodbye.